Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have with us Patrick Kamba. He is a pharmaceutical executive, speaker, author of Quiet Ambition, and drawing from his journey as a son of Congolese immigrants and 2 decades of global leadership. We will learn from him how to cultivate calm confidence, overcome imposter feelings, and build a fulfilling career on your own terms. We'll learn how to lead and live with quiet purpose. Welcome to the show, Patrick.
Thank you, AJ. AJ, thanks for having me. Great pleasure.
You're welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form, Patrick. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll talk about the power of quiet ambition. We'll also talk about your book. The book's name is also Quiet Ambition. So we'll talk about all this. But before that, let's talk a bit about your journey, your background, so that the audience knows who they are listening to.
So, thanks. So, let me introduce myself. So, my name is Patrick Kamba. I am passionate by people management, and I'm currently working as an executive director in the vaccine pharmaceutical industry. And I enjoy actually doing, clinical research, bringing new medicines for people who need it. So that's my purpose. And from the beginning, I would say I was originally an engineer. Then I made an MBA. I worked more in the industry, in the field, in process improvement, etc. And then very quickly, I was more and more passionate by people management, career management, giving advices, mentoring people, and contribute to their development. Though this is really a passion, and that led me to write a book called Quiet Ambition, a book that I wish I had it much before in my career.
Absolutely, Patrick. So I want to understand, what do you want people to understand by being quietly ambitious? By your, we'll come to the book separately, but what is quiet ambition quite about?
Yes, so quiet ambition is about the quiet and the ambition, of course, and people tend to focus more on the ambition. But with my book and actually my day to day, I like to explain that you can still be quiet and still be successful. That is not impossible, even if it might sound counterintuitive. I'm really challenging the mindset that, you should always hustle, show you are the best, look at me, I am a performer, and etc. And that is actually the kind of behavior I had in the past. And I understood that it may not be the only way and not only the best way to succeed in your career.
Absolutely. So, but you see, people have understood that shouting helps. That's why people keep on shouting, and it is, within corporate environments, especially because it is not just about one country. It seems to be a global thing, and I'm sure it works. So that's why people keep on, talking about it. People also say, great HR experts, they also say that you must keep track of everything that you have achieved, even the smallest things. You keep a record of that and always put it out to your managers, to your bosses, so that they know, that you are working very hard. What's wrong with, talking about your achievements in a place where achievements matter? We'll come to the quietly ambitious part of it. But in a culture like this, uh, why wouldn't people do that?
So it's the culture of visibility and loudness. Okay, you indeed, the world is crowded, noisy, so you have to show you are there, look at me, put some lights, doing thousands of posts, and etc. etc. Yes, that is happening. That is where we are living. And as you are saying, it's all over the world. Yes. But with the quiet ambition, I'm still saying that you should talk about what you are doing. Yes. But it's not about doing it every time, everywhere, day and night with everybody. That's not my point. It's about being more strategic, being visible at certain moment, but being visible doesn't mean that you should run the show. You might be visible by promoting, putting forward people you are working with, people in the room, and etc., etc. It's not about being selfish. It's about bringing something to the conversation, the project, and etc.
Absolutely, Patrick. So let's understand the secret of your success. What helped you succeed? Did shouting help? Because you did not have your book at that point in time, or is
No.
it something else?
Oh, well, let's say shouting may be counterintuitive or backfire. I will start by this. A long time ago, I was project manager and I really wanted to be promoted. And I was so much shouting, complaining, that's unfair. I'm delivering so much. Why can't I be promoted? Okay, I mean, I've been there. I cannot say I was never like this, of course. And a few friends, when I was talking to them, and even new colleagues in the past, the way I was introducing myself is, my name is Patrick Kamba, I am a performer. Okay, I was so proud to say it, by the way. Then it evolved because at a certain moment, I saw also some people starting to go to HR, for example, or complain to their line manager, asking for justification, explanation on why they were not promoted. But I was considering this as an option. Then I start to feel that maybe those people start to be a bit toxic. You don't want to stay with people who are always complaining, saying they are the best, that what is happening to them is unfair, and etc. You start to stay away. Then I said, maybe if I go on with this direction, maybe people will start to stay away from me. And that is not what I want at all. That's why I stepped back. I took the time to still go to HR. I'm not saying I did not. I went to HR, but I went to them to discuss, listen, and trying to understand what was happening. And guess what? People talked to me. People replied. People discussed with me. It allowed to increase my understanding on the different processes. And then I built alliances. At that time, I did not know it was quite ambition. Of course, I did not know. But I started to see that there is a way also to build relationship long term, where actually people will tell you what they cannot tell you officially. And that is how I started to learn. And then, of course, I ended up by being promoted. And I understood that this method can be successful. I repeated it constantly. It allowed me to be director at GSK, leading several people, starting my own business as an entrepreneur, PK Pharma Consult, during COVID. And currently I am working at PPD. I am executive director. I have led people. There were more than 300 project managers, from associate project managers to even senior directors. And I did it quietly. I did not shout about it. I was just taking the time to listen to people, build relationship, and yes, being visible, but at certain moment, not every day, and helping also people around me growing. Because at the end, quiet ambition doesn't mean that you are alone. You are working with people, supporting the others, because at the end, I have been supported too.
Absolutely. So, Patrick, I want to understand then the message here is, and we will also come to the book also, but the larger message here is for the leadership in companies, or is it the message for employees? Because if employees are resorting to shouting or wanting to make themselves heard, that means leadership is having some sort of a problem with their ears, that they don't understand the calm confidence, the calm quiet, the silence that is speaking to them. They want only when their eardrums are making or getting that, disturbed by
Yes.
those noises. Help us understand that. Is it the problem with employees, or is it the problem with leadership? Because leadership is not only at one level, it is at several levels, from manager, supervisor to HR
Yes.
to even top level management. Means why is it that they are not listening to the calmer guys? That they have to also resort to this sort of a making noise.
So to me, it's both ways. At the end, it's about a relationship. Uh, Leading is about caring, yes. So leaders have to take the time and ask, I would say, in the room, in their teams and beyond, what is their opinion, what they would like to bring to the conversation. But on the opposite, the employees should dare to say, to be visible and bring their voice to the different conversations. In other words, everybody needs to take the time to listen to the others. But first thing first, we have to explore in ourselves. What do we want? What success does look like for us? What does it mean for us to be ambitious? Because you may have your definition of ambition, I may have mine, and you may not have the same. That is fine. As long as your ambition is not coming from somebody else's ambition, okay? Somebody else's vision about you, what you should do, what you can do, and etc. It needs to be personal at first. It's about you, and that's why the first chapters of my book, I talk about exploring yourself. That's the key area, and this is really the point to start with.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's come to your book itself, Quiet Ambition. So you talked about the first chapter. Firstly, let's understand, who is this book for? Is it for normal people, normal employees, or is it for the leaders who are accustomed to noises?
The good news is that this book is for everybody. It's about men and women. It's about coordinator and executive people, in the sense that it is always good at any moment to step back and think about our own ambition. What do we want to do? Where do we want to go? And etc. And I would say the person I am today compared to the person I was before writing this book is not the same. So I keep on learning, even if from time to time I read again my book. I check some chapters, I step back and I learn, and I still do some exercises. So this book is for everybody, because at the end, we forget to take the time to explore what we really want. I had a funny, or maybe not so funny, story to tell you about. My father, MD, he's retired. A bit more than 25 years ago, he had a doctor who was replacing him because my father was sick. He was there during 1 month. I gave him the keys for the practice, the office of my father. Thank you, you helped my father. Thank you very much, etc. Yes, you're welcome, Patrick. I'm glad I could help you, even if this is not the job I wanted to have. Like, come on. I said, what do you mean? You are an MD. I mean, everybody would like to be an MD, if you know what I mean. That's so great job, taking care of people and help them go better and feel better. No, this was not my choice. It was my father's choice. And then it was a blank. And then it was a shock to me. And that is maybe the first time I was hit by the concept of it's not my ambition, it's the ambition of somebody else. And that's why I put really in the first chapters of my book, start by exploring yourself. Because if you don't explore yourself, you don't know what ambition means to me, you may arrive somewhere but still not be happy.
Absolutely. So ambition should be tied to, your feeling of success, or how does that work? People don't even look at ambition. They look at success first and find a path towards that particular point.
Yes. So I have a very simple definition of ambition. I like to call it the inner fire that pushes you forward. That's very simple, very basic. But at the end, it's about this fire. So if this fire is to make you run a marathon in New York or open a store in your city, it is fine. It's the same. It's your ambition. But in both cases, you have to explore yourself and be sure that if you do it, will you be happy? If not, it means that it may not be your ambition. It might be the ambition of somebody else who is saying, you are such a great sport person, I'm sure you should do a marathon. Or you like business, maybe you should open a store, but is it really what you want? So that's the question. And then you explore your ambition, you set goals, you partner with people to support you, surround you, yes. But I like to say the moment you are ambitious, be ready, adversity comes. And that is where you will need resilience, self-esteem, self-confidence, because challenges will arrive. Basic example, you want to open a store. Yeah, but don't you believe we have enough stores in this city? Are you sure? When will you do it? You want to run a marathon in New York, but isn't it dangerous? What about your health? Do you have a doctor? What food will you eat? And etc. and etc. and etc. And so that is also a point I explain in my book. Some people, when you're ambitious, you will project on them that actually they should do something. And then these people may start to be jealous, may start to challenge you. Why do you want to do this? What's the benefit? Oh, you will always surprise me when you want to do this and etc. So that is the part of the quiet. I'm not saying secret, hidden, I'm just saying quiet. And you have to be strategic with who you are sharing your ambition, your goals, and etc. Because some people may not be so happy for you.
Absolutely, absolutely, Patrick. So, how do you show calm confidence in a office atmosphere? Means I'm working, I'm very good person. I'll sit at my desk and I will be very calm. Whatever the situation. Do you think anyone will notice?
I agree, nobody will notice. I agree. So, a few things. And I like to say very simple. First, prepare yourself. I'm sorry, you have an important meeting in 2 hours with, I don't know, your line manager, your boss, clients. I mean, you have to be ready. That's basic, but you have to be ready. You prepare. That's one. The second is being strategically visible. Doesn't mean that you have to run the show during 2 hours. You may open the conversation. You may rephrase some things that people are saying. You may wrap up at the end of the conversation. You may highlight some risk. You may propose to partner with specific people in the room to move forward. Okay? And you can still be calm. But by preparing this before the meeting and propose and bring to the conversation one of the options I'm saying here, people will see, okay, this person is bringing value to the conversation, to the project. And in an extreme way, when you are not there, people will remember. That is the concept of lasting presence. You are not in the room, people keep on talking about you, what you bring to the conversation. And even some people may say, I would like to have Patrick for my next project. I like to have him because he's able to wrap up. He's able to rephrase. He always proposes ideas. He always has an open mind. We can discuss with him, etc., etc. And then people will start to look for you, talk about you when you are not there.
Absolutely. So, Patrick, today you mentor rising leaders, especially women, on how to achieve more without losing themselves in the noise. So, coming to the women leadership, how should women then, because when we talk of women empowerment, careers, many a times, the suggestion is that you must raise your voice, be seen, be heard, be present, show your
Yes.
presence. What would you like to tell about achieving what they deserve
Mhm.
as well as showing quiet confidence? How have you
So,
dealt that in your book?
so as I said, my book is for men and women, and the quiet ambition approach can be used in both cases. The idea is, yes, you have to be seen, heard, visible, and etc., but don't try to be heard, seen, visible again during 2 hours. You don't need to run the show. You have to be strategically visible. Prepare the moment you interfere in the conversation. You bring elements and constantly. But again, not during 2 hours. Is you know that specific people will be in the room. You prepare the meeting. You know when to speak, when to bring, and what to bring without over shouting, being over hustling, and etc. Because this is not the thing that you would like to do. You don't want to be remembered like this. But again, bring value. Important point, build alliances. It's not about you alone. It's having people who will support you during this meeting. That's why you may meet some of them before the meeting to prepare, but also getting the support of mentors, ambassadors, you call them as you wish. And one limiting belief that some women have is that they would not dare to ask meetings with their mentors and coach and etc. on intense frequency, like every week. Funny story, I'm mentoring man and woman. When a man becomes my mentee, they generally propose, okay, we can meet next week. Woman, can we meet next month? If you have the time, because I know you are busy, so maybe we can meet in 2 months. Then I tell them, no, and I do it on purpose. I say, if you are a man, you would propose to meet next week. So why can't we meet next week? And of course, they laugh because sense of humor is important.
Absolutely, Patrick. Coming to the realities of today, it's the remote work. A lot of employees are also doing remote working, even in slightly managerial positions, senior positions. How is it that they can also, be quite ambitious, quietly ambitious, and still be noticed by the top guys within the organization? Either way, they are very quiet because they are working remotely. Help us understand from that perspective, their perspective.
So yes, I confirm I am working remote too for a bit more than 4 years now. There are some traps, being remote, you are just working from your place or co-working space. You don't have the coffee break and etc. Yes, it's over because you are alone. Yes, but that doesn't prevent you to have some catch up of, I don't know, 15, 30 minutes on a regular basis. So you still need to connect to people who know people and keep on networking. It is just a different way. You may put a ritual like the last Friday of the month or the second Tuesday of the month or whatever and have these connections. And again, simple way to do it, how to increase your network. Let me give you a very basic example. You know somebody you want to work with or you want to learn from. You go to this person, you approach. You explain what you want to do, and then you say, can you give me 2 other people with the same kind of interest who could help me too? Go to those 3 the week after, and you ask each of them 3. You have 9. In less than 2 weeks, we move from 1 person to 9. And I let you imagine if you ask 3 people every time. That's a very simple way to increase your network, build new relationships that will evolve to potentially being alliances.
Wonderful, wonderful, Patrick. There is so much to learn about all this from you. And I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of employees, a lot of organizations would want to learn more about you, from your book, Quite Ambition. What's the best way for them to connect with you?
So if your audience, there are some people who are convinced they can do much more, but they don't know where to start, well, they can connect with me via LinkedIn. And I will be happy to, of course, keep on discussing with them and answer any question they would have. I would love to do it.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you, everybody.